Hey guys, welcome to the Daily Word Bible Study, a plain and simple, book by book, chapter by chapter, and verse by verse study of the entire Bible. Currently, we are in Psalm 73. Psalm 73. And again, we are looking at some very good, um, as we go through, we are picking up on um, scriptures, prophecy, I mean to say, prophecies. And also, we are entering into a different section. So, if you remember, the Psalms were in books of, as I guess the um, scholars grouped them. Okay, I don't know exactly how, excuse me, how this grouping came, but um, so this begins like what they're calling Book Three. And so the collection of Psalms are from Psalm 73 to Psalm 89. So let's get to it. I mean, to me, from my perspective, the Psalms, um, and of course, according to who done the collecting of these Psalms, okay, they're still praises of God. So again, this is beginning of Psalm book 3. All right, so Psalm 73 verse 1 says, God is indeed good to Israel, to the pure in heart. Now, one of the interesting things, he certainly was good to Israel. And then I would also say that he's gotten a bad rap as, the God of wrath and the God of anger and all that. However, what people don't realize is that the reason we see the wrath of God is because over and over and over Israel sinned. So the Babylonian exile, which was a judgment of God against Israel, well, keep in mind that took, for sure, it took nearly 1,000 years, around 1,000 years, for God to get to that point. In other words, for 1,000 years, they kept sinning and repenting, sinning and repenting. Verse 1 again, God is indeed good to Israel, to the pure in heart. But as for me, my feet almost slipped. My steps nearly went astray, for I envied the arrogant. I saw the prosperity of the wicked. They have an easy time until they die, and their bodies are well fed. Now I'm going to stop before because I know some of these points are very interesting. We all relate to this, and that's my point. We all relate to this. When he says that he almost slipped because he envied the wicked, and then we ask the question, why does the wicked always seem to get away with things? Why do the wicked, and again, like I said, when you're suffering, sometimes you're isolated. You're kind of on an island and you're suffering as if no one else is suffering. But then you look at, especially as Christians, that sometimes we can say, well, why can't I curse? Why can't I curse that person out, right? Or why can't I sin like them? Like it seems like they're having fun with fornication, adultery, all this kind of stuff. You know, um, but notice what he says. Verse 3, for I envy the arrogant, I saw the prosperity of the wicked, that they have an easy time until they die, and their bodies are well fed. Now again, that's only from a world perspective, because really, if you look at the wicked, you don't always know what's going on in their life. You don't always know. Verse 5, they they are not in trouble like others. They are not afflicted like most people. Again, this is his perspective of not actually knowing. He doesn't know this. but we feel this way for sure because it certainly looked like that. I'll give you a good example. When you think of some of the, uh, when you think about some of the guards during the Jewish Holocaust, some of them lived in their 90s before they got caught and tried. And it's almost like, okay, yeah, okay, justice came, but really, 90? Anyway, verse 6, therefore pride is their necklace, and violence cover them like a garment. Their eyes bulge out from fatness, and the imaginations of their heart run wild. They mock, and they speak maliciously. They are arrogantly threaten. They arrogantly threaten oppression. They set their mouths against heaven, and their tongues strut across the earth. Therefore, his people turn to them and drink in their overflowing words. Oh, let me see here. Okay, verse 11 again. The wicked say, how can God know? Does the Most High know everything? Look at them, the wicked. They are always at ease, and they increase their wealth. Did I purify my heart and wash my hands in innocent blood for nothing? For I am afflicted all day long and punished every morning. If I had decided to say these things out loud, I would have betrayed your people. When I tried to understand all of this, it seems hopeless until I entered God's sanctuary. Then I understood their destiny. Indeed, you put them in slippery places. You make them fall into ruin. How suddenly they become a desolation. They came to an end swept away by terrors, like one waking from a dream. Lord, when arriving, you would despise their image. When I became embittered and my innermost being was wounded, I was stupid and didn't understand. I was an unthinking animal towards you. Now, this is kind of interesting because even today, you have people when they're suffering. You have people when they're suffering will feel this way. Okay, they will feel this way. For example, you hear the term today, people who are angry at God. And as I told you, one of the most, I shouldn't even say this. I mean, because it's kind of stupid. That guy is stupid that he forgave God. But mostly, sometimes you have this idea of people saying I was angry at God. Okay. So we can see it is a natural, sometimes expression, a natural emotion. But it is an ungodly emotion. And that's what we should realize. It is an ungodly emotion. And even though I would say this, let me be careful to represent God accurately. God is merciful. Okay, that's it. God is merciful. But you should understand, God really doesn't care about your anger or the arrogance of your anger. But he is merciful. Let me tell you that he is merciful. Verse 22 again, I was stupid and didn't understand. I was an unthinking animal towards you. Yet I'm always with you. You hold my right hand. You guide me with your counsel. And afterwards, you will take me up in glory. What do I have in heaven but you? And I despise nothing on earth but you. My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart, my portion forever. Those far from you will certainly perish. You destroy all who are unfaithful to you. But as for me, God's presence is my good. God's presence is my good, and I've made the Lord God my refuge. So I can tell all about. Let me go back. I'm going to read 23 again. But as for me, God's presence is my good, and I have made the Lord God my refuge, so I can tell all about. No, I don't know why I keep doing this. So I can tell about all you do. Okay. All right. Psalm 74. I'm sorry, 74. Psalm 74. All right, here we go. Why have you rejected us forever, God? Why does your anger burn against the sheep of your pasture? Now, again, this is the emotion of the moment. The answer to the question is because they repeatedly sinned. Remember your congregation, which you purchased long ago, and redeemed as the tribe for your own possession. Talking about the nation of Israel. Remember Mount Zion, where you dwell. Make your way to everlasting ruins, and to all that the enemy has destroyed in the sanctuary, your adversaries warred in the meeting places where you met with us. They set up their emblems as signs. It was like men in a thicket of trees wielding axes, then smashing all of the carvings with a hatchet and picks. They set your sanctuary on fire. They utterly desecrate the dwelling place of your name. They said in their hearts, let us oppress them relentlessly. They burned down every place throughout the land where God met with us. There is no sign for us to see. There is no longer a prophet, and none of us know how long this will last. God, how long will the enemy mock? Will the foes insult your name forever? Why do you hold back your hand, stretch out your right hand, and destroy them? Now, let me say this. A lot of times we feel again this way. In other words, like now, people ask the question all the time, why is God silent? You think about all the evil around the world, and yet it seems like God is not doing anything. So in other words, David or the psalmist here is capturing the emotion of it, how we all feel, right? God, do something, right? And certainly we could, oh God, yeah, say things, destroy them, right? Verse 12. God, my King, is from ancient times, performing saving acts on the earth. You divided the sea with your strength. You smashed the heads of the sea monsters in the water. You crushed the heads of Leviathan. Now, Leviathan, we see this name repeatedly, was a extremely powerful, excuse me, we would call them sea monsters. And the way Leviathan is described in the book of Job, think of an alligator, the skin, but then much larger and much powerful. In fact, God himself said he couldn't even be captured by a normal man. Okay? So he says, you crushed the head of Leviathan, you fed him to the creatures of the desert. You opened up springs and streams, you dried up ever-flowing rivers. The day is yours, also the night. You established the moon and the sun. You set all the boundaries of the earth. You made summer and winter. Remember this, the enemy has mocked Yahweh, and the foolish people have insulted your name. Do not give the life of your dove to beasts. Do not forget the lives of your poor. I'm sorry. Do not give the life of your dove to beasts. Do not forget the lives of your poor people forever. Consider the covenant, for the dark places of the land are full of violence. Do not let the oppressed turn away in shame. Let the poor and needy praise your name. Rise up, God, defend your cause. Remember the insults. Remember the insults that fools bring against you. Remember the insults that fools bring against you all day long. Do not forget. Do not forget the clamor of your adversary, the turmoil of your opponents that go up constantly. All right. So let me try to sneak in one more. But I think here this captures what again? This captures what we all feel when we see evil and wicked. And I mean, and there's all kinds of evil and wicked that seems to go on and not be judged. Okay. Psalm 75. We give thanks to you, God. We give thanks to you, for your name is near. People tell about your wonderful works. When I choose a time, I will judge fairly. When the earth and all its inhabitants shake, I am the one who steadies the pillars, Selah. I say to the boastful, do not boast, and to the wicked, do not lift up your horn. Do not lift up your horn against heaven, or speak arrogantly. Exaltation does not come from the east, or from the west, or from the desert, for God is the judge. Okay? God is the judge. He brings down the exalted. Now, some people use this term in verse 6, exaltation does not come from the east, or the west, for God is the judge, or sometimes that God is the one to exalt. Now, as if you're looking to be exalted from God, by God, that's where you would look. In other words, if you are hoping that God will judge you, exalt you, especially young ministers, by all means, you should be looking towards God. Okay. Verse 6, exaltation does not come from the east, the west, or the desert, for God is the judge. He brings down one who exalts another. For there is a cup in the Lord's hand, full of wine blended with spices, and he pours from it. All the wicked of the earth will drink, draining it to the dregs. Now this term, the wine cup, always kind of a symbol of wrath. Drinking from the cup of God, the wine cup or the cup of God. It speaks of wrath. As for me, I will tell about him forever. I will sing praises to the God of Jacob. I will cut off all the horns of the wicked, but the horns of the righteous will be lifted forever. All right, let me sneak in one more. Psalm 76. God is known in Judah, and his name is great in Israel. Kind of interesting. He mentions Judah, Judah being the seed that Jesus would come from. He come from the tribe of Judah. Verse 2. His tent is in Sullivan, his dwelling place in Zion. There he shadows the bows, flaming arrows, the shield, the sword, and the weapons of war. Selah. You are resplendent and majestic, coming down from the mountains of prey. The brave-hearted have been plundered. They have slipped into their final sleep. None of the warriors was able to lift up a hand at your rebuke, God of Jacob. Both chariots and horses lay still. And you are to be feared when you are angry. Who can stand before you? From the heavens you pronounce judgment. The earth feared and grew quiet. When God rose up to judge and save all the lowly of the earth, Selah. Even human wrath will praise you. You will clothe yourself with the remaining wrath. Make and keep your vows to the Lord your God. Let all who are around you bring him tribute to the all-inspiring one. He humbles the spirit of leaders. He is feared by kings of the earth. Now, again, this term about vows, always remember that it's better not to make one. In other words, God doesn't make you make a vow, but if you make one, then you are certainly I'm looking up this word right here. If you make a vow, you're obligated to keep it. But remember, you don't have to make one, and you certainly don't have to make one in order for God to Um, you don't have to make one in order to get God to answer you. Now I want to kind of go back one thing because this word in verse 4, this word resplendent. I want to give you the definition of it because I didn't see this word here, and I'm using the Holman Christian Standard Bible, so that's why I don't know if this comes up in other translations. But it means attractive and impressive through, though being richly colorful and sumptuous. Okay, so he's saying this about God. You are magnificent, basically what he's saying, but impressive. Everything about God is majestic, impressive. All right. Um, I looked that word up myself because I didn't even, like I say, I didn't know that that word came from there. All right, guys, don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to BP, the Bible Perspective. And as always, if you have a thought or comment, add it to the comment section below. All comments are welcome. And don't forget to like and share this video. I'll see you in the next study.